So, dog, what's wrong with the blacks?
All right, welcome back to the channel. I think this first video here is going to be fitting for the rebrand of this channel. Something I couldn't stay away from. Jssse Lee Peterson talks about, he asked a question, what's wrong with the blacks? And he asked this question to an older black gentleman. I think one of the reasons it bothers me so much is because this man is someone who a lot of people would consider a leader in the community, at least in the black community. And he's just so off. He's just so misguided. And he confidently, this is the kind of person that would confidently mislead others and misguide others. So I wanted to give my take on this video. So I'll be stopping it quite a lot to chime in and kind of expand on one, where I think Jssse might be going on this. But two, and most importantly, a lot of the things that I felt were left out and not really explored, that I think it's important that we address. So without further ado, let's get into this. This is Jssse Lee Peterson, Fallen State. What's wrong with the blacks?
So, dog, what's wrong with the blacks?
Oh, man. Your program is not long enough.
Meaning what?
Well, the first thing wrong with us is we don't trust each other.
And why not?
Because we've been conditioned with distrust, because if we unite, we run the world.
And who conditioned y'all not to trust one another?
The system.
And how did it do that?
By control.
Well, who is the system?
Well, the system is not black people.
Who is the system?
So you're talking about the system is white folk.
All right, pause. Let's stop right there for a second before we move any further. He asked a question, what's wrong with blacks? And the gentleman answered the question. He said, first and foremost, that we don't trust each other. And then Jssse prodded a little bit more and asked, well, why don't we trust each other? And his response was the system. Ultimately, the system was white people. So let me give you my thoughts on this, because I hear this argument a lot. It really, really bothers me. And I'll give it from my personal perspective first, and then I'll expand on it a little bit. It says, why don't we trust blacks? I'll let you in on a little secret. I grew up in a military family. We traveled all over the world, lived Germany, Italy, a lot of different places. And then I went into the military myself after I graduated high school, did some more traveling and everything like that. Along the way, I learned people are, for the most part, just people. You have biases, you have other things like that. But one thing that experience allowed me to do was to learn a more open view of history. So I was able to access information, be exposed to information that a lot of people that looked like me never really either were exposed to, or there was no emphasis placed on certain things. Take it back to where he said why blacks don't trust blacks. From a broad perspective, if you're looking at like in racial terms, if you want to lump everybody into a great group, and he talks about this system, my mind goes directly back to the transatlantic slave trade, right? A lot of people think about the slave trade and they say, well, okay, that's why blacks shouldn't trust white people, because what white people did, and they kidnapped black people from Africa and brought them to the Americas. I think Jesse's going to touch on this a little bit later on. I think just kind of skim across it. But one important thing to note is that in Africa at that time, you had the blacks together, right? You had this continent of mostly black people, large groups of just all black people, right? And so when the Europeans and the Arabs came to get slaves, they had to get them from somewhere. And they didn't get off the ships and go inland and kidnap people there, drag them back to the ships, and then kidnap them off to America. They bought them, they purchased them. So now you have to ask the question of who they purchased them from. Well, they purchased them from black people, people that look like me, right? So how did those people become slaves in order to be sold into further bondage? Not sold into bondage, they were already in bondage. How did that happen? Well, somebody had to conquer them, enslave them, and it was black people. So that's the genesis of the enslavement of the African, at least a large portion of them that were brought to the United States during the transatlantic slave trade. The genesis, the beginning of that journey, started with another black person enslaving you, right? In some cases, killing your family. There are wars that are going on, beating you into submission, tying you up, dragging you to the coast or to the riverbank, and then selling you into slavery. So there was a lot of damage that was done prior to the transfer being made into the hands of a quote unquote white man. Now, if you took the white man out of the equation, the slavery would still have existed. In some places, it still does exist. That was going to happen anyway. Now, it might have been exacerbated or expanded upon when folks saw that this was a way to earn things that were valuable to them, to get trinkets, things of that nature, some guns, stuff like that. So it might have expanded at that point, but the bottom line is the system was already there. Blacks were already being conquered by blacks. Blacks were already being sold into slavery by blacks. And people seem to forget that. It's a convenient thing to start at the point that you feel absolves you or people who look like you of any blame. So going back to the initial comment about blacks don't trust blacks, there's a reason for that. Now, if we bring it up to modern times, why blacks don't trust black, it's because if a black person was going to get hit upside the head or shot, the odds are it's going to be another black person that does it to them, right? We can try to divert and go off on these tangents talking about police violence and racial violence, things of that nature, but the facts tell the story. The chances are greater for a black man if he was murdered or harmed, attacked. Odds are the person that did is going to be someone who looks like you. So maybe that's why a lot of black people don't trust each other. Let's take it to the financial world when scams are run, right? Things of that nature. You got high-level scams, you got low-level scams, but if you look across the internet right now, you see these young scammers running their hustles, and often it's under the guise of pro-black this, pro-black that. Let's take Black Lives Matter, right? And then later on you find out that it was a scam. Might make you not trust them as much. There's a lot of reasons why blacks don't trust each other, but one thing that is not because of, in my humble opinion, it's not because of the white man. That's not the source of it. Let's move on.
Who is the system?
So you're talking about the system is white folk.
So the white people condition the blacks not to trust one another?
Absolutely.
So why were the blacks so dumb they allowed that to happen to them?
Why were they so dumb? What makes you think they were dumb?
Jesse is a troll. Respect to Jesse. You got to understand where he's coming from, why he's doing that, but super troll.
Why would they let this white man convince them not to trust one another? They were smart people.
Well, then why would a black man have a White History Month?
You're not answering. That's a question. I'm going to tell you about the white history when you ask, but I just asked if the blacks were so dumb, how did they allow white people to cause them not to trust one another if they were smart? Why are they so dumb they allowed that to happen?
Well, it could be because of greed, man.
Oh, the black people are greedy?
It could be, Jesse, because that's the only way they can get to make a living. Jesse.
So you saying the black people are so greedy they allow themselves to not trust?
I think that you see when it comes down to supporting your family and providing for your children, man, you'll make a whole lot of decisions that normally you might not make if that's the only way you're gonna do it.
See, problem number two. The only way that you're going to that you're going to be able to do that, support your family. How do you come to the conclusion that that's the only way? So, in order to come to that conclusion, you have to be in a lower state vibrationally. The lower you sink vibrationally, the the less you can see. It's like the landscape. It's like being in a valley, down in a pit. You're not going to be able to see much when you're in that space. And I'm not just talking about like a physical place or a financial place, but it's a mental place, a spiritual place. When you're in that pit, it's hard to see. Your options become fewer. You can't see that far away. And then you get tunnel vision. And then it starts maybe to look like the only option that you have. The problem here is when someone is given an excuse. We have to understand the mind state, the mentality. We have to be able to understand that, but also understand that it's not an excuse, right? You still have to hold individuals accountable, hold them responsible. When you are in a position of leadership, and then you use that position, that voice, to spread excuses on a mass level, all you do is weaken the people that you say that you want to strengthen or fight for. Now you're giving them more excuses, more reasons why they can't achieve something, why they can't do something. It's no wonder why we have this mindset running rampant through the black population when you have leaders and elders that talk like this.
But just to be clear, you said that the white man caused the black people not to trust one another because the black people were greedy.
Listen, do you think Obama could have had a black agenda in the White House?
You didn't answer that question yet. I want to just understand, did you say that the black people allowed the white people to cause them not to trust one another because they were so greedy? The blacks were so greedy?
Let's put greed and ignorance.
So the blacks were greedy and dumb?
Greed and ignorance.
So they were both greedy and dumb?
Yes.
And why were they so dumb that the white man was smart enough to do that to them?
Because they trying to fill a need, Jesse, just like you.
Going back to what I mentioned earlier about slavery, all the people who conquered other black people, all the black people who conquered other black people, who enslaved other black people, just like in that movie, they tried to the Woman King, I think it was, they tried to make, and I understand it was coming in from a feminist standpoint. They thought that it would promote the feminist agenda. But as far as the perception of black folks, Africans, in my opinion, it did nothing good. It might have went over a lot of people's heads, but you can't turn enslavers into heroes. At least not in the same movie. It's not going to work. So what he's saying is to get what they need. Again, I'll go back to that point. So now you're excusing all the way from those who enslaved other black people, and I could get into the tribal thing and all of that. There's reasons for that, but I'm not going to do that in this video. But you're excusing that all the way up to President Obama, saying that could he have had a black agenda? If your mind was right and you were thinking logically, level-headed, you wouldn't have wanted him to have a black agenda. If a president can have a black agenda, a black president, that means a white president can have a white agenda. Some people think that's right, but what they don't understand is, take Trump, for instance. A lot of black people would think that his agenda is a white agenda. It's not. It's an American agenda. And the only way you would see that as an affront to you is if you don't see yourself as an American. The sad thing about that is everyone else does. You're the one that has the problem. So satisfying a need is not an excuse in no way, shape, or form.
They trying to fill a need, Jesse.
But why?
And when you try to fill a need, sometimes you're going to compromise, Jesse.
Well, before the civil rights movement, why did the blacks not allow the whites to divide them It only happened after the civil rights movement.
That's not true, man.
Did the civil rights movement dumb them down?
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. They were divided on the American Colonization Act to go back to Africa. Black folk were divided. You had black people that wanted to go back to Africa who formed Liberia.
And now Liberia's a mess.
Black folk that felt like they belong in America. So
we've
always been divided.
Did you know that Liberia is now a mess and the blacks want to come back?
Jesse.
No, he didn't.
Do you know how Liberia got started?
He didn't know that.
I don't know. I don't care. But did you know that the blacks that left here to go over there, they made a mess of it, ghetto, hood. Now they want to come back to America.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
How come blacks?
Before we move on, let me expand on this a little bit. Liberia was basically founded with former slaves that elected to go back to Africa. That was the easier solution in a lot of people's minds. Why deal with these black people, these ignorant Negroes or whatnot, or those who want to cause trouble, they want to speak up, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But in any case, they offered them a free ride back to Africa. You hear that a lot. Go back to Africa. Free ride back to Africa. We're not going to get into that, what's right, what's wrong. But ultimately, if you wanted to go back to Africa, then you had a free ride back there. A country was established, Liberia, for that purpose, to repatriate Africans to Africa. Here's the problem, though. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Had I been in that situation, I would have thought, at least with the understanding that I have now, why would I want to go back to a place that sold me and my ancestors in the first place? If, in order for that to have happened, in order for my ancestors, if they had been from Africa, to be enslaved and put on a boat and sent over here, the white man had a lot of help, which means there was a lot of black men that didn't like me or my people, or would not help me or my people, either or. Either they didn't like us, or they felt bad, but they were too afraid to do anything about it. They were like a lot of people in America right now. They were cowards, right? They talked a good game. Meanwhile, these folks were drug off and sold into slavery. Either way you look at it, it's a bad deal. Why would I want to go back to that? What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? Everything's a threat. Danger, danger, danger. Danger everywhere. Why would you want to go back there? They're not your friends. They're not on your side. If they really were, you wouldn't have ended up as a slave in America in the first place. So it makes no sense to me, but he touts it like this big marvel. Jesse was absolutely right. The country is a dunghole now. And part of it was an international thing, but a lot of it was black folks that made it that way. Corruption, mistreating each other, scamming, the inability to work together. Long story. Not going to go into that, but I think it's important to note that.
Don't know how to make anything work. The blacks don't seem to know how to do that. Why is that?
Blacks don't know how to make things work. Man, there's the fallacy of that statement. There was what's his name at Johns Hopkins. He was a janitor, and he helped this doctor with the baby, the blue syndrome. That was a black guy that did that.
The Republican guy?
Huh?
You talking about the Republican guy?
I don't know what his party. Hey, Jesse.
So who Jesse's talking about was a doctor named Vivian Thomas who helped to develop a surgery to assist babies that had what they call a blue baby syndrome. I'll read this. It refers to the historical context of the development of the first successful surgical procedure for blue baby syndrome, primarily thanks to the genius of Vivian Thomas, a black surgical assistant. Despite being excluded from formal medical education and facing racial discrimination, Thomas collaborated with white surgeons Alfred Blalock and Helen Taussig to create the Blalock-Taussig shunt, a life-saving procedure that redirected blood flow in infants and pioneered modern heart surgery. Thomas's contributions were not widely acknowledged for decades, though he later received an honorary degree and was recognized as a pioneer in cardiac surgery. If you look further on the internet, a simple Google search, if you go deep, you might find something. But as far as political party is concerned, there's no information available about Vivian Thomas's political party, as historical records and biographies focus on his groundbreaking medical career and contributions to cardiac surgery, not his political affiliation. So maybe he was a Republican, like Jssse Lee Peterson suggested, but I'm thinking that more than likely he was probably thinking about Dr. Ben Carson.
See, if America is the eagle, why is the left wing trying to destroy the white wing? If America is the eagle.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay, an eagle has to have two wings to fly, true? Any bird needs two wings to fly.
Right. Oh, and you want to know why the black people are trying to destroy the whites?
Wing trying to destroy the right wing?
Well, the reason the blacks are trying to destroy the whites because they're jealous of them. And they don't believe that, the blacks don't believe that they are capable, so that's why they're trying to destroy the white people.
Really? Jesse.
Do you have another reason? What?
Wait a minute, Jesse. Do black people have to be 2 or 3 times better than white people?
No.
They don't?
No.
You know, man.
Are you saying yes to that?
Yes, I am.
And why do they have to be 2 or 3 times better?
All right, so this is another thing that is really, really big, or saying that's really, really big in the African American community. From a child, from a little one, a lot of black children are told you have to be 2 or 3 times better than a white child or a white person to get the same thing. And if you really dive into it, you'll understand that it's meant to be a positive thing. It's meant to motivate the younger generations to strive harder to be better, so that there is any racism or obstacles put up based upon the race. If you're 2 or 3 times better than the competition, then the likelihood of you overcoming them is much greater. So the thought behind it is meant to be a positive thing, but often, as is what happens, it ends up having a negative effect. What if you have a child who feels like they're just as good, but they're not better? What if you have a child that feels like they're better, but they're not twice as good or 3 times as good? Then you're going to have a child who is highly capable and self-confident to a great extent, develop these negative traits, become negative about their future and their possibilities, because what's been ingrained in that brain, that negative programming. You thought it was positive, but it was negative. And let's explore that just a little bit. Sure, there is racism. Racism exists. I will not deny that. I think it would be foolish to deny that. Racism does exist, just like serial killers exist. Shooters, mass shooters exist. All of these things exist, but they're not everywhere. Everyone's not a mass shooter. Everyone's not a serial killer. And everyone's not racist, right? Some people say you shouldn't see race, and if you see race, then you're a racist. On one hand, you could say that, which means that probably 99% of the country's population is racist, both black and white. Or you could say that to see race doesn't make you a racist, it just makes you conscious of differences, which could lead to bias, stereotypes, perceptions of people that might be, in many cases, unjust. Doesn't necessarily make you a racist, though. The topic of racism is about power and the use of that power, specifically based upon the race of another individual. And if you take that example, that definition, a lot of people will say that black people can't be racist. White people are racist because they have all the power, the institutional power. But it's not an institutional thing as much as it is the individual thing. If you're looking at the institution or race as a whole, you'll never be able to identify who's a racist. You'll never be able to identify who's friend and who's foe. I'll give you an example of that. I served in the United States Army. Met a lot of men who were hard men, but most of whom were fair men. Hard, but fair, right? I also had a bunch of fellow soldiers who assumed that some of these men were racist. The white men were racist and the black men were, quote unquote, Uncle Toms. They didn't know what that really meant, but that's what they thought they were supposed to call them, Uncle Toms. They were sellouts because they were being hard on them. None of which was true. None of which was true. But the perception was there because they had somebody who was outranked them, superior to them in position, and was being hard on them. Ultimately to make them a better soldier, to make them a better man, but they couldn't see that because race got in the way. So that's the problem that leads to. So it can become an expansive conversation. It can become huge. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. I just wanted to touch on that before we move forward because I thought it was important.
Against Jesse?
No, I want one thing at a time. Why do the blacks have to be 2 or 3 times better than the whites?
Crickets.
You know, because that's the way the system is designed. And to tell you something, Jesse, some of these same white people that you are now defending.
I haven't defended a white person yet. I'm asking you. I asked you why. Who told the black people they have to be 2 or 3 times better than the whites? Who told them that?
Jesse, right now you got some white people in your corner that's supporting you, who skin crawl when you talk.
Duh, you didn't answer the question. Who told the blacks that they have to be 2 or 3 times better than the whites? Who told them that?
Nobody. We didn't have to be told. We saw it.
You saw what?
Because we've been looked over, Jesse. We've been denied opportunity, Jesse.
Who looked over
in America?
Who looked over the blacks?
Who what?
Who looked over the blacks? What do you mean you've been looked over?
Didn't I just tell you about the American Colonization Society?
No, who looked over the blacks? You say y'all been looked over. Who looked over you?
White people. You don't think white people have looked over our ability?
And so why do you need them to look at you and take care of you? Why do you need that?
Well, see, Jesse, first of all, anybody that has a black agenda in America is going to be considered a threat.
To who?
To America. If you come out right now with a black agenda, anybody, if Obama had a black agenda, he'd be dead. If Kamala Harris get a black agenda, she would be dead. Okay? So don't come here talking about having a black agenda is that easy in America, because it's not.
I want to interject here. I actually think he's about 99% right, but not for the reason that he may believe. When you say it's a threat, somebody with a black agenda in America, for the most part, is a threat. And I know it may sound kind of strange, but if that quote unquote black agenda is an un-American agenda, then yes, it is a threat. However, if that black agenda was couched within the American agenda, then they would not be. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't be looked at as a threat. They would probably get an awful lot of help, more help than they think that they would get. Here's the thing. Often when that agenda is put forth, it's presented in such a way as that it's an either or thing. It's, it's a zero-sum game. In order for black people to have more, non-black people have to lose something. And that's a win-lose scenario. And that is going to be viewed as a threat. Now, if you wanted to get up off the ground and you wanted my help, but you want me to get down on the ground with you, and then we both stand up together, that's not going to work. That's a problem. That's a problem because you feel as if you have to take from me in order for you to have what you need. It's not a zero sum game. We can both win. This is what I gather most non-whites or non-blacks are thinking, right? But when you push these agendas and you come in a way that you want to take from everyone else in order to push your agenda forward, you're not going to get any support. Yes, you will be looked over. Yes, you will be viewed as a threat because really you kind of are. And you don't realize you're not just a threat to non-black people, but you're a threat to other black people who are trying to make a way, following those tenets that I like to live by. And in the area of responsibility, not asking someone to do something for you that you can and should do for yourself, or not doing things for other people that they can and should do for themselves. And it violates that tenet of self-responsibility. And if you violate that tenet, you will not get the assistance or the help that you need, at least not on a large scale. He doesn't seem to realize that. What is the black agenda, if not an American agenda? What is a black dream in America, if not an American dream? And until you realize that, yes, you will be viewed as a threat. And most often, rightfully so. You're not a part of America within America. It's not going to work. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Let's proceed.
In fact, anytime you have a black agenda, it's automatically perceived as anti-white.
Yeah, you said a lot, and I want to get some understanding of how you're thinking. First of all, who told the black people that they have to be 2 or 3 times better than the whites? Who told y'all that?
The system told us that, Jesse.
The white man told y'all that?
We got refused, Jesse.
Are you saying that the white?
Jesse.
Are you saying that the white man?
We done got some of our stuff stolen, Jesse.
Darn. Are you saying the white people told y'all, the blacks, that y'all have to be 2 or 3 times better than us? They told you that.
Yes, they told us that, Jesse.
And did you believe it? And did you believe that?
What else can I believe, Jesse, when I see the results?
Darn, did you believe it?
Jesse, we both from Alabama.
Darn, did you believe it?
No, sir.
You didn't believe it?
No, sir.
And why is he in a room by himself with masked up? That's part of the problem right there.
Then why you just said it then? Why you just said it then?
You think there's some blacks that don't believe that, Jesse, that's done gave up?
I'm sorry?
You think there's some black folk out here that haven't quit, Jesse? They haven't been discouraged by the system, Jesse? Why do you think we got so many jails full, Jesse?
Because they commit crimes?
Really?
Do you believe that?
Let me tell you, Jesse. See, when you could have, when DC first started, before 1835, you had to have 3 white people to vouch for you and put up a $50 peace bond.
Were you around in 1855, 35, whatever you said? Were you around?
No, sir. No, sir.
And how did that affect Don today?
How?
Yeah.
Mindset.
Oh, your mind is messed up?
No, sir. You see, let me tell you.
Are you saying you have an 1835 mindset?
No, sir. I'm telling you.
What year is your mindset? What year is your mindset?
Let's talk about white people, the mindset they stuck in.
Now, see, before he goes into this, his thoughts on that, Jesse is exactly right. It's the mindset. And that was a great question. Would you have an 1835 mindset? Right? The past is something that you can't change. You can't change the past. Let me harp on this for a second. The past is the past. And here's the kicker. The past will always be the past. Forever and ever, the past will be the past. So now let me ask you this. If your excuse or your reasoning for how you move through this world is something that happened in the past, how will it ever change? What is it that I can give you today that will change the past? The answer is nothing. What if I offered you reparations and I said, here, listen, I'm going to give you $1 million. right? Not a whole lot of money, but it's something. I'm going to give you $1 million. Does that erase the past? No, it doesn't. The past will have still happened. So, if moving forward, you find a way to spend that $1 million, right? The money is spent. Now you're back to where you were before I gave you the $1 million. Now what are you going to say? You can just blame it on the past again, right? Because the past is still the past. And you still were wronged in the past, or your ancestors were wrong in the past. Nothing's changed. So you can use that excuse perpetually, forever and ever and ever, because the past is the past. The past will never change. The past will remain the same forever. There's nothing you can do about the past. But what you can do is something about the future. But how can you move toward a different future if your mind is stuck in the past? If you won't assume responsibility for the things that you're supposed to be responsible for, if you do not develop the self-acceptance, right? It's kind of like a map. Reading a map and moving from point A to point B. Self-acceptance is like the arrow that says you are here. It doesn't matter how you got there, right? But this is where you are. Now, you don't want to stay there. You want to get to another destination. In order to do that, you have to chart a path on this map. But what you can't do is move and then say you're still at the starting point. Once you do that, that map is useless. You'll never get to where you want to go because you'll be trying to run a path and not know where you are because you're at point B and you think you're at point A. How do you advance like that? How do you move forward like that? Leave the past in the past. Mark it on the map. When you get to where you're going, you can look back and say, this is where I started from. This is where I was when I began. But now I'm here. I'm somewhere else. But you'll never get anywhere else until you let go of the past. Some say, well, the past has lessons to teach us. It does. On that map, I was standing in the middle of a swamp. It was wet. It was cold. It was nasty. There were mosquitoes. There were alligators. There were snakes. There were all kind of vermin. It was a bad place to be. I learned my lesson, and I know I never, ever, ever want to go back. And if I do end up back there, you best believe I'm going to have everything with me that I know I need in order to survive in that environment. So yeah, lesson learned. That's not where I want to be. The most powerful lesson is I want to be over there. So let's get to moving, get to stepping, let's go. Let's go over there. That's the lesson. And then you move and you leave that spot where it is. That is not your destination. Too often people are looking backwards and they're wondering why we can't move anywhere. Because you got to stop looking there and look over there. And let's figure it out along the way.
Have you heard of the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act?
Done. It's 1852 now.
Just based on what they thought, if they were suspicious that a black person was a runaway slave, they had to approach them. And that mindset has passed down from generation to generation. Now, if you want to talk about black people, look at welfare. Welfare, they told a black man, if you ain't in the house, we gonna give them welfare. All right, we'll take care of your kids.
Who told them that?
And then society turn around and say, black men don't want to be fathers when the federal government say, don't be a dad.
Who told them that?
Welfare.
Who told them?
You got generation on top of generation stuck in the mindset of something for nothing.
Who told them? Is that something that the white man told them?
Absolutely. The federal government.
No, it's not. It's because you are telling them right now. You constantly broadcast that message. If that's the case, right, and that happened then, you should be telling black men to stay in the home. Your message should be not what excuse, not what happened in the past, It should be, this is what happened in the past. This is what we need to do now. And focus on that. That should be your message. Not how you think you were wrong, but what you can do to make it right.
Man told the black man, get out of your house, abandon your family, and we're going to give you a welfare check.
And we're going to get that welfare.
And the black man said, okay.
Okay.
What was wrong with him that he said okay to that?
Jesse, didn't you just hear me say you have established from generation to generation with a mindset of something for nothing? Didn't you hear me say that, Jesse?
So why don't you renew your mind? What's wrong with you can't renew your mind?
Man, when you are enslaved.
Are you enslaved?
When you are conditioned. You ain't thinking about no renewing your mind, man.
Are you
when you getting what you want.
Are you
Jesse?
Enslaved,
Excuse me?
Are you enslaved?
No, sir, that's why I'm independent.
And so how did you become independent?
Because I went out and created my own, Jesse.
So why don't you teach the other blacks to do that?
Well, I can't teach them if it ain't successful.
If what ain't successful?
If my ideas ain't successful. You know, Jesse, let me show you something. See, I created my own dinnerware line, Jesse. Okay? I got my own dinnerware line. I just don't have the money to get it.
So why don't you get a paying job so you can make that happen?
So now I got to give up my freedom, go back and work for somebody just so I can get my idea to be a reality. Come on, Jesse.
But how's that giving up freedom? You're working, they're paying you a check. You got an ideal in mind. You want to make your dinnerware work. It's not working with you.
Jesse,
why not get a job that's going to make you money so you can do what you need to do?
Are you working a job now, Jesse?
I am.
For who?
Myself.
Oh, you working for yourself?
Right.
So how come I can't work for myself, Jesse?
But I worked for other people until I was able to work for myself. I did both.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So that makes it right, Jesse?
Yes. Yeah.
Because you did it that way, Jesse?
Yeah.
You know, Jesse, see, you scared of commitment.
This is funny. I gotta throw this out here, right? Okay. I have a theory. Okay. My theory is security versus freedom. The dynamic of those two, security and freedom, right? And my theory is this: that the more freedom you have, the less secure you are, and the more security that you have, the less free you are, typically. And the reason I say that is, think about this for a second, right? He's talking about jobs and whatever, and he wants to be free to do his own thing, right? But he's not financially secure. He said he doesn't have the money to do what he wants to do. So he's got maximum freedom and very little security. And then on the other hand, take somebody who, let's go all the way to the maximum level of security, right? It's in the word, maximum security, like a prison, maximum security. They are the most secure that you will get. They got 3 hots in a cot, walls around them, fences, all this stuff. They don't have to worry about much. Just do what they're told. That's security, maximum security. But no freedom, very little freedom, You got the freedom maybe to turn some pages in a book. So the more free you are, the less secure you are. What he's alluding to is he wants to have both simultaneously. He wants to have a lot of security and a lot of freedom, and it's a mirage. It doesn't work that way. Even when it looks like that, like somebody's doing really well and they're making a lot of money, and you're saying, hey, he's got maximum freedom and he's got maximum security, but he really doesn't, because how is he making that money? He's working, and he doesn't have the freedom to just go lollygag whenever he wants to. He has to work to create that revenue and that lifestyle. And the difference is that the when he's giving up his freedom, it's for something that he wants to do. The problem comes in when it's a bad type of loss of freedom, where you're stuck doing something you want. This guy probably had a horrible job, or didn't like his job, or had issues with his job, or whatever. But when you like what you do, then you may not be free from it, but you enjoy it, and you can create security at the same time. So that's what I think is interesting about that. Let's proceed.
What?
You scared of commitment, Jesse.
I'm scared of what?
Of a commitment, Jesse.
Who is that?
You don't know what commitment. Are you married, Jesse?
No.
You ever been married, Jesse?
No.
Then how can you tell somebody about marriage, Jesse?
What does that have to do with a job, Dad?
Huh?
What does that have to do with a job?
Because
Dad, what does that have to do with a job?
Just because you're doing it don't make it right, Jesse.
Why
Just
not?
because you
What's
work
wrong,
a job
Don?
to do what you do don't make it right,
What's
Jesse.
wrong with you have an idea, you want to start your own business, right? And you don't have the money on hand to do it. What's wrong with getting a job that would bring in a paycheck so you can get your thing going, and then once that's rolling, you can leave that job alone and just work your business? What's wrong with that?
So how come I can't create another idea instead of going and get another job?
But why create
Why don't I just create another idea?
Let's do this because of time, Don.
Rather than going and get another job.
Don, let's do this because of time. So you're saying that what's wrong with the blacks is that the white man won't take care of them, won't free them.
No, sir, I didn't say. You're saying that, Jesse, not me.
But
you're saying that.
But you're saying, so you're saying what's wrong with the blacks is that they're still living in 1838.
I'm saying that we have been taught to demonize each other, to kill each other, to destroy each other. This is the way we have been taught because that's money.
By the white man, right?
Absolutely.
And at no point, that's not true, but let's say it was true. Are you saying that at no point the black going to ever take control of their own life and overcome that?
No, sir, I'm not saying.
Do they need the white man to unteach them that?
No, sir, you're saying that.
So then why don't they overcome it then?
Because they have people just like yourself that's sowing confusion, man.
How is that confusion?
You'll put a black man down before you will a white man, Jesse.
But I'm telling them how to overcome it. How is that putting them down?
You tell them how to. No, you tell them how to overcome it.
Yes.
By degrading them.
How is that degrading them? Telling them to start thinking for themselves, doing for themselves, and be responsible for self. How is that degrading?
Well, how you know they're not responsible for self, Jesse?
How is that degrading, Don? You didn't answer that.
But I'm saying you're assuming they're not responsible for self.
Don, how is that degrading?
Because the tone and the way you deliver it, Jesse.
Oh, my God.
The tone? What do you mean?
Oh, my God.
And the way you...
Oh, my God. Okay. So, this is... I got to come down a little bit to address this one because this is prevalent too. I hear this a lot, and it's about the tone. When something is said, whether it's right or wrong or truthful, or if it's a lie, that has nothing to do with the tone. It's the information that is contained, and suffice to say that it seemed like it once upon a time when I heard like the tone policing and it's your tone, it often came from a female. But over the years, I started to hear more and more men talk like this. To me, it indicates, and maybe it's just what I see. I don't know if it's like that across the board, but it indicates a change in society, almost like an effeminization of men. Not like the bend your wrist, that type of thing, but the mindset, the rush to be offended. It's your tone, right? In my household, when I was growing up, my father, when he said certain things, or he wanted certain things done, or he wanted certain things to happen, father had a deep voice. As a child, you were looking, he could seem like an imposing figure. But you listen to what was said. Okay, Dad said do this. Dad said do not do this. Doesn't matter what tone he said it in. It was just what he said. And it wasn't what, if you failed to do something that you were supposed to do, it wasn't, what did I tell you to do? It was more, what did I tell you to do? It wasn't, how did I sound when I told you to do that? Did I sound serious when I told you that? Did I sound angry when I told you that? Did I sound loving and caring when I told you that? No, it wasn't. It was, what did I tell you? Simple as that. What was being said? And when you give people that excuse, which is really all it is, and that's why I brought up the fact about the female male thing. Oftentimes, it's because I've experienced it myself. It's a misdirection or a redirection to get you off of the topic. So when you say something that somebody doesn't have a rebuttal for, or they just don't want to tell you the truth, they want to avoid, giving that information or being open about their viewpoint or their position on something, if they have one, or if they don't want to reveal that they don't have one, they don't have a response, then they'll address and they'll say it's your tone. Why did you have to say it like that? And try to disrupt the conversation. So his excuse for young men not receiving the guidance that they need is that the tone is off. Why are you saying like that? You're degrading them. So now we have a group of men, elders, who won't tell these young men what they need to hear because they're too busy trying to police the tone. They don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. They want to coddle somebody. So they won't say what needs to be said. They better spartan up. Not smarten up, but spartan up. They better toughen up, because that's what these young men need to hear. You can say it in love, but that's not your first priority. Your first priority is to get the information out. Say what needs to be said. We can worry about feelings a little bit later.
See, man, you're the type of brother that will throw a rock and hide your hand in a minute.
Don, do you believe...
Because that works for you, Jesse.
Don, do you believe racism exists?
Absolutely.
And why do you believe that?
Because I see it every day.
You see it. And what does it look like?
I see it every day.
What does it look like?
It looks ugly.
What does it look like?
It looks like it won't give you a chance. It looks like it won't support you. Look like it won't uplift you. Look like it won't encourage you. Look like it will put stumbling blocks in your way to prevent you, Jesse. That's what it looks like.
So you need someone to support you?
Do I need somebody to support me?
Yes.
If that was the case, why would I be sitting in this hotel?
You need the white man.
If I'm not trying to get it on my own.
You need the white man to support you?
No, sir. That's why I'm out here. Hey, Jesse, not only have I created the True Conductor brand, I have my DC Black Tours, I've created a hop-on, hop-off shuttle, and I've shown you my dinnerware line that I've created, Jesse.
Don, do you believe in white supremacy?
Absolutely.
And why do you believe that the white man is superior to you?
Wait a minute. See, that's two different questions you just said.
That's the same question.
Do I believe in white supremacy?
Right.
Yes.
And so why do you believe the white man is superior to you?
I don't believe he's superior. I think he done set a system up to make himself superior. And that's why.
That's literally what he just asked you. Why do you think he's superior? We didn't ask you whether the system was set up to make him that way. But why do you think the white man is superior to you? You can't believe in white superiority or white supremacy unless you believe that the white man is supreme. There's no way around it.
They got people like yourself that's out on the front line fighting for white history. What is it about white history you can teach that ain't already been taught?
I don't want Americans to forget my country, the history, the real history of my country, in that this country was founded and created by white men. And with the help of God, they created the greatest country on this side of heaven. And then now you have the radicals, the blacks and some Mexicans, going around destroying true history and replacing it with junk.
I gotta say, he is a master troll. He is a master troll. He probably lost a lot of people with that right there. But there's a method to his madness. If you watch Jssse Lee Peterson like I do sometimes, you'll see the method behind it. It is done for a reason.
And so if that is allowed, then the generations to come, they want to appreciate real history and give back to the country and make it better. Do you agree with me that July just feels white?
No, sir.
Doesn't July feel white?
I mean, it's been white to you, but July July 4th celebration, man, we still enslaved, brother.
And why y'all enslaved?
Enslaved, Jesse.
Why y'all enslaved?
We will always be enslaved, Jesse.
And so the white man,
because of the mind.
There you go. Because of the mindset. And this is what I really wanted to get to. Because what he said was a lot more potent than it might seem on the surface. He says, we are still enslaved. We will always be enslaved. And then he says, because of the mindset. So he knows, he understands that the slavery is generated from the inside out. You are enslaving yourself. Your mind is enslaved, right? There's no one on the outside enslaving you. It's all within you. Your perception. Your perception is creating your reality, your self-limiting beliefs, right? You are keeping yourself from freedom. It's kind of like the elephant with the rope, right? Say that elephant, as a baby elephant, was tied to a stake with a rope. That's the past. And as a baby, he couldn't pull away per se. It was a resistance there. So he learned to stay there tied to the stake. And now he's grown up into a big, strong elephant. And you can tie that big, strong elephant to a stake by a rope because his mindset, he believes that he is restricted. He believes that he is captured. He believes that he is tied up and he can't break free. His mindset, a little wooden stake and a rope that he could snatch out of the ground at will, but he won't allow himself to do it because he doesn't believe he can because of the mindset. That is literally the state of many black men, many in the black community, quote unquote community, population in this country. It is the mindset. And he answered that. He said that. He knows that and still can't break free from it.
He said,
the white man going to always keep y'all enslaved?
You don't think so?
No, I'm asking you. I'm not enslaved.
Absolutely.
And so do you believe if you stop believing that the white man is superior to you, that you will overcome being enslaved?
I never said, see, you said the white man was superior to me. I ain't never said, Jesse.
Anyone that believes that
bigger
white
than
people...
the average white man, Jesse.
I'm sorry?
Okay? My is bigger than the average white man. So he ain't superior.
Don, keep it clean.
Okay?
Keep it clean. The kids watch the show.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. But
yeah, keep your little private thing to yourself, man. What
since you want to talk about superior, no, he ain't superior, Jesse.
And then why you call him supremacy then? Supremacy means superior.
No, supremacy means control, Jesse.
Don.
White supremacy is control, Jesse. It's a mindset, Jesse.
Right, you believe that the white man's superior to you so he can control you, and that's why you complain about it.
Man, see, at one time, it was against the law.
No, that's not.
Now, notice he said that again, at one time. All of his references are to the past. He's always talking about what happened back in the past and at one time. He's stuck there. He's living in the past, like a lot of people are today.
Today, that's not now. Living in now, not in the past. Now, let's do this.
Did you know that, Jesse?
Let's do this because of time.
If you don't know your past, man, how you going to know where you're going?
That's not my past.
Really?
Really.
And you out of Alabama.
Sweet home Alabama.
Wow. Super troll, master troll. Jssse Lee Peterson is the master troll. But some great points covered, and he kind of skimmed across the surface. I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and just give my thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this kind of content, this is what it's going to be going forward. Just diving into some clips and kind of getting into the mindset behind what is said, not just what is said and by whom, and the rumors about that person and the gossip about that person. And let's kick it up a notch. Let's just not talk about people. Let's just not talk about events. Let's talk about ideas. Let's raise the vibration. Let's point out politics and really dive in. Again, if you like this type of content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know you're there, and let's have a back and forth about that because I really enjoy that part of the process. And on that note, I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourself. Peace.